Hello all in YouTube land, I'm back again. Right, sorry, I've just not long just got out the shower and got dressed. Apologies for looking a bit messy. Right, I don't normally talk about things to do with politics, but, and this is a big but just like mine, I am making the exception because, here we go. Because I have read something on Facebook that a local MP who I'm friends with on Facebook posted up about the local council stopping funding to support homeless people. Now, I think this is absolutely disgraceful. Don't get me wrong, I'm unable to work anymore because of me fitting regular. My fits have gotten so severe I can't be working, among other medical issues, and I appreciate the help I get with helping to pay for rent and council tax and the benefit we receive to be able to support my family, right? So don't get me wrong, I do appreciate all of that, but the point is that they saying it cost roughly £300 a night per person to help with, hang on, with feed is pixelating. Okay. Per person, yeah, to put them up in a place to stay, hotel, well, I don't know if it's a hotel, but hostel, whatever. I don't know why it's pixelating, Steve, but hi, thanks for being here. So what I'm going to do, if you just hang tight, I'm just going to see if I can find the post that was put up yesterday. Bear with me. Oh, come on. Why is it so slow? Computers for you. £300 an hour. Yeah, yeah. But the thing is, Steve, I don't think, realistically, hang on. Bear with me, you're going to get a close-up of my ugly mugshot. I'm terrible at spelling. What is going on with this bleeding computer? Yeah, anyway, so, like I said, I don't think it is costing £300 a night. Okay, put it this way. When I was on a very low income, which when I was working a few years ago, and I was getting the usual child tax credit and income support, and it was just myself and my daughter, I was only able to afford £20. Yeah, I do. I was surviving on £20 a week food shopping. Now that's £20 a week, 20, 40, 60, £80 a month to buy food for myself and my daughter, right? That didn't include the £15 a week at the time I was paying for her bus pass to get to and from school, because I swapped her into a different senior school because she was getting bullied at the one she was at before, but there you go. So then all of that was coming out of the £200 wage I was earning being a dinner lady, and the rest of the bills got paid using the benefits I received. Okay, like I said, I got help with my rent and I got help with council tax. I'm not ashamed to say it, and like I said, I appreciate the help that I do get. But to completely cut off any service that could help homeless people, I think is ridiculous. When yet you see things on the news, whether it be in America, yeah, in the UK, of these politicians all suited up, going to important lunches at the most expensive restaurants possible. Now you explain to me, whose money are they using to do that? Because it ain't their own. Exactly. Spot on, Steve. You're right. Right. Now, I've not ever been to America, and one day hopefully I will do. But I've seen a lot of news broadcasts of what's going on there back home in South Africa, where I'm from, here in the UK, and it sickens me to death seeing how many homeless people there are in the US. At least 60% of them are veterans, and not a single government person is doing anything to help them. But yet we say, oh, how brave you are for going to fight for your country. You've done the country great justice. But when you come home, guess what? Your country's not going to do great justice for you, because you just had your purpose and now you got to sort it out on your own. Fair? Don't think so. And why is it the USA does not have free medical like the NHS here in the UK? I say free medical, but what it is that the taxes people pay is used to pay for the medical. Okay, so instead of having, you can get private medical here too if you are financial stable enough to be able to get it, so you don't have to go through the NHS. But like I said, the NHS is funded by the taxes that people pay. Hang on, oh, I can't read that. I'm going to just lift this up. Yeah, that's exactly it. Right? Now, I'm going to say this, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate and dislikes or horrid comments, and really I don't care. But I actually support Donald Trump, and I'm actually happy that he's running the country in the USA. Why? Okay, yes, he made mistakes in previous businesses, but he learned from them. We all make mistakes. We are not perfect in any shape or form, right? None of us are. We all mess up. But having a businessman run the country seems a better logical idea than having someone who has been in the press for all the wrong reasons. Is it such a bad thing that he wants to try and have less illegal, not legal, illegal immigrants coming over to the country and trying to apply for help that they're not really entitled to, because the country itself is already having issues to finance the people who are already on low incomes or homeless? Are you leaving? Oh, okay, sorry, Steve, I upset you saying I support Trump. Sorry. But can you get my point of view? Right. What a government needs, yeah, in the UK as well, is not only having high-class, well-educated people in Parliament. It's not a good business. Yes, he did have a lot of failed businesses, but from what I understand, he learned from it. He wasn't bribed by other people and said, well, if we vote for you to get elected, Mr. Trump, we will give you money for so-and-so. He didn't need it. He paid for his own campaign. He's got the money to do it. He did it. He didn't need bribes. He's not going to say, oh yes, well I promised to do so-and-so when I'm elected, but when he got elected, ain't happening. That's what shocks people, is he's actually doing what he said he will do. thing is, like I said, I know my views are different to everybody else's. That's what makes us different, obviously. Stating the obvious, Mandy. But the way I see it is that, like I was trying to get to, every party, political party, should at least have one, if not two, and I'll use this hypothetically, common people, to be able to give them feedback on what goes on in the real world, with those people struggling to support their families, struggling to even buy food, those people who are homeless. They are the ones who should be getting the information to give to the politicians and say, this is what's going on, for real. Not, oh, well, we believe that £300 is being spent per person per night on the homeless to look after them. If I could survive on 20 quid a week food for me and my daughter, there's no way that it's costing them £300. None. I just think that they are, like you say, Steve, putting more money on the books, saying it's costing this per person per night. How much is a quid? £1. Hang on, stay there a sec. Let's see if I can. Oh, excuse me. Right, you there still, Steve? And see that coin in my fingers? That's a pound coin. Sorry if it's out of focus. See that? That's £1 coin. That's a quid. I'm not sure on the exchange rate between the pounds and the US dollars. The only one I know is that the equivalent of the exchange rate between South African money, which is rands, and the UK pounds. And at this moment in time, I think you get 19 rand for every pound coin. No. The majority of people voted for the UK to leave the EU. I'm not happy with the way Theresa May is dealing with it. She's trying to get all these deals going on, but to be honest, if the UK leaves the EU without any deal, no deal at all, I think the UK is strong enough to survive on its own. The problem I see is that the reason the EU wants us to stay is so that the UK continues to contribute to help them. When, in all honesty, the UK should focus on helping their own people first before helping the EU countries. Sorry. I'm not saying that they shouldn't help other countries. I'm just saying that the money they contribute to other countries should be less and more should be spent on their own country. And the same goes for America. America should concentrate on helping their own before handing out money to other people. But no, I think the sooner we get out of the EU, the better. It's hurting us more now, still being in the EU with all this nonsense going on of trying to sort deals out. What? I don't think Northern Ireland likes much at all. I'm not going to go there with the Northern Ireland thing. They've had so much difficulty in the past, is all I know. No, they won't like having the checkpoints put into place, but Okay, let's give an example. Say I owned a business. Okay, wishful thinking, but say I owned a business. And out of my own back, I've already made contacts with companies in America, in South Africa, in France, right? I already made those contacts. I've got them on the books, and they still want to purchase what I supply. Okay? Coming out of the EU isn't going to stop them buying what I supply or for me to sell, because I've already made that connection. They're already in my contacts. I've already formed a relationship with those businesses. Right? So if we come out of the EU, as I believe, it shouldn't matter. If you still want to trade with foreign countries or foreign businesses and they want to trade with you because you have products they like, then being out of the EU should not stop that. By law, everything that comes into the country from other countries or goes vice versa always has to be checked to make sure that it goes according to the law of standards that's expected of products, be it food, motor cars, clothing, etc. They all have to abide by the law. Now that law would still stand even if we came out of the EU. They have already tried to gain independence, Steve, and it failed. The reason it failed is because Scotland, the person who is in charge, she's not a very good person. Like I said, they tried to vote for independence, and a lot of the people voted to be just stay put in getting help from England. Maybe one day Scotland will be independent, but while they're still part of the United Kingdom, they will still get the help and backup. And mind you, some of the politicians in England are just as bad in my point of view. But like I said, to be honest, then if there is still no exit plan by the time of May, I think then Theresa May needs to be replaced and get somebody else to do the job quick. It needs to be dealt with quick, because if she doesn't sort it out soon, before the deadline, I believe a lot of people probably won't even want to use their right to vote, because a majority of those who voted to leave feel like they are being, sorry for the rude commentary, screwed over by the government. Now, like I said, I only, not saying everything I say is spot on, that's how I see it. And like I said, there's going to be a lot of people who probably understand where my viewpoint is coming from, and others who will disagree with it. And I can only tell you what I believe and how I see things day to day and what's going on around the world. So yeah. She can't. She can't. The reason why she can't is because the people voted. And like I said, the majority voted to leave. Now she can't go against her people's vote. It's not allowed. If she tried to do that, she'd be kicked out. That's the reason for voting, is to do what the people have asked you to do. She cannot force the people who have voted to leave the EU to say, oh no, well, I think it's best we stay. Can't do that. The politicians at the end of the day represent the people, the public. And if they aren't seen doing their job properly, they can be booted. No, she can't. No. They have tried to say that they want a re-vote, for people to re-vote to decide whether alarm, a re-vote to see if people will still vote to leave, or those who voted to leave will now decide to vote to stay. But the thing is, because the majority spoke to leave, that needs to be just dealt with. Like I said, if she keeps delaying what the people have asked her to do, she's just going to cause more damage to the public, to the country. I know a lot of businesses, big businesses and small businesses, are afraid that they won't be able to buy or sell goods from other EU countries if we leave. But like I said, I don't think it would hurt businesses, because if, like I said, if you've already made that connection with other businesses and you've already got a strong relationship with that other businesses, that leaving the EU is not going to damage your business. I mean, you're still going to get people from the UK, from England, wanting to go visit France, Italy, other EU countries on their holidays. You're still going to get the EU countries wanting to come and study over in England because they have the best university or colleges. So it's not going to damage England or the UK in general leaving the EU, I don't think. No, I don't. I actually think it's a good thing. You could probably say, I could probably ask you, do you find it funny that a South African who now lives in England is interested in American politics? Somebody who's not got a very brilliant high very high education, but is it weird? No, what interests me in politics is the behavior of politicians. I did a access course last year at college, and I studied sociology and psychology, um, and I'm very much interested in behavior of people. What what a person says is one thing, but you could usually tell if somebody is not telling the truth. Body language is normally a giveaway. They don't look directly at you. No, I'm joking, Steve, sorry. So, yeah, like I said, it's the behaviour of the politicians that's what interests me in taking an interest in politics. I think more people should take not a major interest, but at least a slight interest in politics. Because the thing is, right, what happens here in the UK could also affect what happens in America. Now, I know that America and the UK have always had a good partnership. Okay, most of the time. There have been times where things haven't always gone right for either America or the UK, right? But the whole thing I think needs sorting out is that people need to work together. I get what you're saying, Steve, but given the choice that you had to have either him as president or Hillary Clinton, now knowing full well what the Clintons have been like in the past and still are like, but do you think that it would have gone any better having her run the country? Okay, I don't know much about him. Um, could you tell me a little bit of background of the person who you voted for, Steve? So anyway, now that you've got to see me in person, Mr. Steve Fletcher, with my new wacky hairdo, I know I look more boyish than I ever did in my entire life. So that little piece at the back keeps sticking up. I look like I'm about to join the army. Maybe I would, if I could. But, like I said, my viewpoint is always going to be different to others. And do you think he will be nominated by them? You see, the way I see things is the world at the moment, when I say world, I mean people in the world, has become so PC that if anybody has anything to say on politics, health issues, I'm not surprised by that, Steve. Um, yeah, like I said, the world has become so PC that you can't have an opinion on anything without people saying, "Are you stupid? You don't know what you're talking about. You're racist. You this, you that." They'll just discriminate you for just having an opinion, basically. Everybody's going to have an opinion. Everybody's going to have a viewpoint. It might be right. It might not be, but that is the reason people voted, and people fought so hard for freedom in two world wars, and still fighting this to this day in other countries, is so people could stand up for what they believe in. Yeah, well, I'm not surprised Hillary influenced the DNC. She has a lot of influence in a lot of things, which is why I think she is so dodgy. Do I care what Mrs. Hillary Clinton thinks about me? Little old Mandy Chapman's yeah in the UK? No. You gonna do? Lock me up? Have me arrested for saying I think you're dodgy? Go for it. I think a lot of these politicians around the world need to stop being so bitchy at each other. Oh, he said so and so, oh, but in the last talk we had you said so, but nothing's been. Forget all that. Sit down like adults that you meant to be and work through the issues properly. And if you need help with any of the issues, guess what? Come to me. I'll help you. I'd love to be able to be the person who runs the budget for the country. I know how to work on a tight budget, like I kept saying. Right? There are other ways to be able to fund the important things that need funding in this country. Not just getting people to pay extra taxes to line the politicians' pockets so you can go for a posh lunch with other politicians and talk about things that aren't even irrelevant at the point in time. I'm not saying all things aren't irrelevant. I mean, I'm not there at them luncheons and I never will be, but the thing is, a lot of what is said in public, on television, media, newspapers, you have to kind of read between the lines in order to get what's going on. Yeah, okay, I get what you're saying there, Steve, but did Trump still remain friends with them after what happened with the Monica Lewinsky issue, where Hillary Clinton actually turned around and badmouthed Monica Lewinsky, saying she was this, that, and the other, and Bo actually denying all the allegations, and then guess what? Comes out and says it was all true. Would you still want to be friends with somebody like that after when that came about? I wouldn't. Like I say, the only thing I know about politics that goes on in America is what I see being broadcast on podcasts, the things my friends on Facebook post up, who I have friends in America, and a lot of the time you don't always know if people are allowed to change their opinion. They're allowed to change if they don't think that one party is doing what they feel they should be doing, they are allowed to and have the right to change to a different party. Sorry, itchy back. I mean, from what I understand it, crime rate in America is just as high as ever. In certain parts of America, Trump was the only person for a while. Interesting. Um, Trump was the first person to actually take an interest. Now, I know you say you don't like Trump, but this is what changed my mind about him, is that he was the first politician to take an interest in the killings and genocide that is going on in South Africa at the moment with the white farmers. He actually got his people looking into and gathering information on what's going on with the killings in South Africa and report back to him. Next thing you know, a couple of months later down the line, Theresa May decides to get involved. Now, isn't it funny that it takes somebody like Trump to actually make things public on what's going on in South Africa with the killings? It takes someone like Trump to actually point out to people of all the problems that have always been there, but everyone has been too afraid to mention it or talk about it in fear of being discriminated. Yeah, I get what you're saying, and it's practically the same here. Crime rates in the UK also vary from city to city, and the same in South Africa. The more populated cities are going to probably have the higher rates of crime, as where if you're in, like, I don't know, smaller suburban areas, you probably get crime, but not to that extent as the higher crime rates in big populated cities like London, or in South Africa you get like Durban, Johannesburg, and places like that. Steve, can I ask a question? In America, when children are sent to school, like a public school, I suppose you have over there, do you still have to pay tuition for a child to attend a public school? Not talking about private schooling, like high-end private schooling. I'm talking about normal public school. Because here in the UK, we don't have to pay for school tuition until they get to like either college or university. I'd done one music review when I did it during a live stream. But yeah, that is something I am looking into doing. I just have to work out all the. I'm still getting the hang of doing videos, live streams, and recording videos. But my taste in music is quite a variety, quite a range of. I listen to most stuff. Right, okay, so it's similar to over there, to what we have over here as well in England, in the UK. But like I said, the only thing I don't understand, Steve, is that here in the UK, like I said, we have the NHS, which is free medical, which gets funded by the taxes, as do the schools and things like that, fire services, ambulance, and all that. But yet in America, the taxes get used to pay for public schools and other public services, but you don't get free medical over that, which is the bit that confuses me. Ugh, my tea's gone cold. I mean, in South Africa, where I was born and grew up, even if you went to... Right, okay, I got you. I get you, Steve. But doesn't the UK also contribute quite a high percent towards America's military and other things? Ah, yeah. Too expensive to send your kids to college to study to get out of the poverty areas. Hence why youngsters turn to crime. I think that's the only way they can get out of the situation they're in, which unfortunately isn't always the case. They just get deeper into a bad situation. Well, that is, yeah, shocking. Not surprised, but still shocking. I think a lot of people around the world still think there's World War III going to be brewing, which is why they're spending so much money on weapons and training soldiers and all the other things that go with it. I'm not saying, we don't need the military, we don't need the army, naval seals, and all the rest of those brave men and women who train day in and day out for years to become the best of the best to be able to defend the country. Not saying that at all. But what I am saying is if you are willing to spend the money on them to train them to fight and defend your country, then you need to spend the money on them when they come back home injured and discharged from services because of injuries. You also need to spend the money on them afterwards, not just to train them up to fight and kill and serve the country. If you're going to spend that kind of money to train them, you need to spend the, the equivalent, if maybe not a little bit less, on supporting them and their families when they come back home. Otherwise, what's the point of telling all these youngsters, oh no, come join the army, you'll get trained, you can have, be able to do this and be able to do that. What's the point if you then not going to support them when they come back? And suffering with, the depression and anxiety and trying to cope with losing limbs from landmines exploding. You're just going to like shove them in some building and say, oh, there you go, thanks for your service, but not much we can do for you now. Why? That's just human cruelty, in my opinion. Anyway, I am going to end my live stream now. Steve Fletcher, thank you for joining me and having a chat with me. Like I said, I know I don't normally talk about politics. Sorry. Um, but when anyone else gets to watch this, please leave us a comment on what you think. I'm not going to get upset or mad if it's a bad comment and you think my opinion's irrelevant, but it would be nice to know what other people's viewpoints are on what I spoke about today. If you think that my viewpoint is valid in some ways, maybe give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you not happy with what I said. Like I said, I'm not going to let it affect me and bother me. This is just my opinion and how I see things here in the UK. Also, if you want, you can check out the other videos I've done and leave comments or likes on them too. And yeah, so I'm, like I said, going to end the live stream. Take care, everyone. Hugs and